But a lot of people ask me where am I going to contest, how many seats are we going to contest and all that. At this moment, I cannot tell you because it's a top secret for our party, right? But personally, right, I prefer to contest in the GRC. Definitely, if you observe our CNY outreach and all those outreach in the previous weeks, right, you will notice that Tampines and Ang Mo Kio and Yishun is always there. Okay, uh, not Ang Mo Kio, Yio Chu Kang actually. Right, these are the our area of interest. But of course, we will always go through process of horse trading, so-called um, opposition negotiation and all that process, right, before we come to agreement not to crash and all that. But this time round, if there's a crash and three-corner fight, four-corner fight, just bear with us. It is, after all, a multi-party democracy. Right? Ultimately, as we progress as a democratic society, a democratic system, multi-corner fights are going to be uh, quite the norm, just like what the UK have. You can have six parties contesting in one place, and the winners actually do not have over 50% of votes, but 20+%, right, or 30% you can win already, right? Okay, this is the process that put up by CNA, right? It says all the processes from now to election time. Okay, for opposition parties especially, we will have to wait for the boundary to be out before we can decide exactly where we want to contest. However, having said that, okay, no matter how they want to draw the boundaries, very kiasu side, we will always have the physical place. Like Tampines will always be there, no matter what they call it. Right? Last time, the Jalan Besar, because they want to lure us into a three-corner fight, they change it into Momen Kalang, right? Right? Between the NSP and the WP, they want a three-corner fight. But later on, when there's no three-corner fight, and after one terms, right, it changed back to Jalan Besar GRC. That's how they play it. Okay, so these are the processes, right? So to me, if there's multi-corner fight, so be it. But don't be disappointed, right? Let the best man win. Of course, we do not prefer it. Definitely. Why? Because PAP is very strong, right? If we fight alone, we can't even win already. So why bother to have a three-corner fight, four-corner fight, right? Right. Having said that, we'll do our best to avoid three-corner fight. Right. Okay. Now, this time round, okay, election department under Lawrence Wong seems to be better, but we will prefer even better, more transparent, right? This is the committee members. We have a chief statistician from Department of Statistics, okay, chief executive from Singapore Land Authority, Ministry of Law. That's definitely because SLA control all the maps and all that, all the distribution. Right? Chief statistician, I do not know why, right? Okay, chief executive officers of Housing and Development Board, they will know how many units and all that, right? Uh, Ironically, the secretary is actually the head of the election department. Who is the chairman? Right? It's actually from PMO, Secretary to Prime Minister. Why is that so? Prime Minister is non-partisan, and you use a secretary to Prime Minister to do that. We would prefer a Chief Justice or a High Court judge to chair this. But you get a secretary to Prime Minister to chair this Electoral Boundary Review Committee. It is just not right. Right? To me, it's just not right. Don't ask me. I, I do not prefer such setup. Okay. Uh, there are a lot of talks. There are a lot of talks on the ground, on how many GRCs. Even the expert come and political observers come and talk about it for the universities and all that. Oh, they are saying there will be 97 seats, right? Up 4 seats, right? For the current 93 seats because of the population growth. Well, you may wonder. I thought we have a problem of an aging population. How come we've got uh, increase of voters, right? Especially we have excess death. How come we still have so much increase in voters, right? Like seats per seats is about 27,000 per seats. So you times 4, we have 100,000 more voters, so-called, over the 4 years. That means every year we increase more than 25,000 of voters, right? That is what we are facing right now. So they were saying, oh, we might have, due to the terms, right, the terms of reference, so-called, okay, we will have additional 4 seats, and it will be one more GRC. Most likely, one of the GRCs will reduce in size, while a 4 main GRCs will be formed, right? Right? And at the same time, we have one more single seat, SMC. Don't presume that the current SMC will remain, right? It is always well known for PAP to absorb SMC into a bigger GRC when they find that the last election result is not that good, right? They carve off another one with a precinct counting. They know which precinct or which smaller precinct within a GRC is a safer one. They will carve it out as a single seat, right? This is gerrymandering. Right? This is basically gerrymandering. Right? We do not have an independent electoral boundary committee, right? And we have to live with it at the moment. It all depends on you voters, as well as those activists who are willing to volunteer to help us to change the current political system to be a fairer and a more transparent. Okay, so after the report is released, okay, before the report is released, by right, they're supposed to recheck, right, the electoral register again. Therefore, they are opening up the register again in February up to 1st of April. Right? By right, only then you can have the exact numbers, the distribution of voters across the island before you can withdraw the boundary, right? But by left, right, they might not wait until then before they complete their withdrawing of boundaries. They might even announce the boundaries report before the register is being confirmed or on the day, the 1st of April. And when that happens, right, Parliament will be dissolved and a writ of election will be issued on the same day. And we have 9 days of campaigning. So the nomination day will be determined. Okay. And with 9 days of campaigning, actually 8 days only lah, because there's one cooling off day. Then we go for polling day. It's a very short time. What's the problem of having a short election period? And what's the problem of having longer election period? Like, having longer election period, of course, will drain a lot of resources, right? Especially activists on the ground. But having a too short campaigning time, voters do not have time to actually know more about each candidate, but they will tend to vote according to party branding, so-called. I actually do not like that, right? A matured a matured democracy, people must know what they are voting for. Informed choice, so-called, right? Informed choice. They must examine and scrutinize, right? Or let people have more time to scrutinize the candidates, right? What their views, what their policies, and not for big parties, especially. I'm from a smaller party, of course, easier to scrutinize my party candidates, right? But for bigger party, there are so many, especially PP will have 97 candidates, so to speak. Right? When you vote, you only look at the lightning, right? Most of people only look at lightning, they vote, right? Especially new citizens, right? They only know the lightning symbol and no other parties, right? Not even workers' party, so called, right? So it is not healthy, right? It is not healthy. At least you must know who are the candidates that's standing in your constituencies. What are their views, right? Can they represent you? Because when you vote in the election, you're supposed to be voting for someone to represent you in parliament. And if you do not know their views or this person good enough, then how can you be sure that what you vote is what you get to represent your views in parliament? Right? I think I'm the only opposition members or opposition leaders or opposition potential candidates. So definitely candidates are not potential, right? We have been doing live chat almost every week, right? Sometimes 3 times a week, sometimes once a week. At least you can see me, you can feel me, you can know me, know my views. Whether you agree or not, you may not agree 100%. You agree 70%, it's all okay, right? If you have no time to know me for all these years, you can always go back to the archives. We have a YouTube channel for People's Power Party. You can search for it. Slowly, we are putting up snippets of my live chat on our YouTube channel, right? Under People's Power Party SG, right? So that is why I spend so much time doing live chat, right? Not only the live chat matters, it's archives. So whenever election comes, you can just go to my live chat and listen to me and see whether you're agreeing with me or disagreeing with me, right? No shame. Right? That is democracy. I do not need 100% of people to agree with me, or even 50% of people agree 100% of what I say. Right? But at least it's an informed choice, right? And this is very important. To me, it's very important. Informed choice, whether it's vaccination or political selection contest, is very important. Right? I used to have a blog, but uh, for quite some time I didn't update my blog. But if you want, but my views have not changed over the years. Might have some modification, but fundamentally my views have not changed for all these years. I'm very consistent in my views. So you want to know about my views about HDB, for example, or death penalty, right? Or casino, the Kutu Casino. You can go to my blog. It's called singaporealternatives.blogspot.com. Right? You can go and search because there's category also. Right? You can read. If you don't want to waste time to watch so many hours of a live chat, you can go and dig and watch. At least I'm real. At least I want my candidates to have an opinion in the first place, must have an agenda. If people who join my party do not have an agenda in mind, then I feel that they are not suitable. That is my selection process. Some people take selection process, or they must be this, they must be that, must be clean and all that, or must not have a mistress and all that. I think that is actually secondary to me. Not that it's not important, but it's quite secondary. I'm more into your views, your agenda. right? What do you represent? Right? Because I advocate that the voters should have informed choice as well. Right? That is how I run my party, right? And how I run my campaign. However, recently, Pritam Singh's talking about election, right? The leader of opposition, but is not the leader of me, right? Is probably in parliament is given the title, but he doesn't represent me, right? Because a lot of views are very different. Workers' Party, some of the views are very left, right? Like we try the wokeism, right? But it's okay. We can live with differences. Diversity is good, right? But he came up with this speech in a recent forum, his own internal forum. Right? He says walls of opposition wipe out. Cause for stronger manpower support in WP. Well, he said more than that, right? He said more than that. Workers' Party is the biggest opposition party in Singapore, strongest so-called, right? With the strongest, brightest brand name. I was very puzzled when he said opposition will be wiped out. Now, compare this to what Lawrence Wong just said last year, right? Stakes are high in G2025. No guarantee PAP will win and form a stable government. So it's contrasting. On one hand, you have the Prime Minister Lawrence Wong saying that, oh, we may lose 50% of a seat. That's what he means, right? And on the other hand, Pritam Singh will say, oh, opposition will be wiped out. So who do you believe? Right? The truth is always right in the middle. Okay? That's how I view it. The truth is somewhere in the middle. They are actually playing the politics of fear, creating fear in voters, especially the middle ground. Hardcore one, die, whatever you tell them, hardcore PAP supporters, whatever you try to brainwash them, they will vote PAP. Right? Hardcore opposition, whatever you try to brainwash them, they will still vote opposition. Right? And there's, of course, hardcore Workers' Party supporters. This will not change. Right? So this politics of fear is targeted at who? The middle ground. Those who are undecided, those who want a balanced political system, those who want to see a mature democracy, democratic development in Singapore, those who feel that we should have checks and balances in Singapore, in the parliament, in the governance, in order to have better governance, right? But the very same people also do not want PAP to be out of power, not in power, right? So they are actually having a targeting this group. Both parties are targeting this group of people. So they use the politics of fear. I hope this group of people who want the best of both worlds, that means on one hand, they want PAP to be in power. On the other hand, they want more voices, more opposition parties members in parliament as well. So this is how they try to play the fear on both sides, right? But I say, right, this is unhealthy, right? Like what I've said before, the proper way of campaigning is informed choices, not just party branding, right? That means your candidates, you must let people know what your candidates stand for, right? At least what your party stand for, and whether your candidates are capable of delivering the voices of the group, of the constituents and the voters. whom they are supposed to represent in Parliament. That is important. For a matured system of democracy, instead of trying to play on the politics of fear. Why? Because fear itself is irrational. It's emotional and irrational. Right? It doesn't take into account a rational account on all the other more important factors, like your policy stance, what you stand for, right? etc., etc., etc. Right? But they just playing up your inner fear. That is unhealthy. I do not play such politics because we have always been kind of right? LKY is very good in playing politics of fear. Whatever fear. Last time is fear, say, you don't vote for PAP, your rubbish will pile up because of town council system. Right? The opposition will run the town council, they will screw up and all that. And that's politics of fear. Or you don't vote for us, you'll be last, right? In HDB upgrading, asset enhancement. There's a politics of fear. Right? That is what makes me walk into opposition politics. That is the reason why I walk into opposition politics, beside the HDB issue. Why? Because I do not want my future generation to live in a society which is filled of fear. It is unhealthy. Right? In the cultural perspective, the mindset is such that your votes can be bought over by using HDB upgrading, by using vouchers, and not about policies, and not about correct assessment of candidates. And that actually makes me comes into opposition politics more than 25 years ago, about 25 years ago. And what are the key issues? This is one of the important key issues. Lee Hsien Loong, of course, defended SICA. Why? Because SICA happens during his term, his administration, when he took over as the Prime Minister. SICA was signed in 2004, if I'm not wrong. Right? And he calls for integration, blah, 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 and all that. I've said this before. And he says he's very proud to bring in billionaires and all that. What he didn't say is what is the population planning parameters. We don't say target. Right? Target you can miss. But when you try to build the cities in the city planning, what is your parameters of planning? You must tell us. You cannot hide behind some veil, very vague thing. And that is not informed choice. Again, it is about informed choice. Tell us what is your population parameters. Then let us decide whether we want to support you or vote for your party to go into that direction. I've explained this before, is 10 million people ultimately by 2065. There is a planning parameters by working backwards of their water projection, water consumption projection for the island. Right? Unwittingly, they thought nobody can know how to do backward calculation, but I did. Right? It was 10 million people at least. Right? 2065. Right? And what are the key issues here? HDB. Lawrence Wong in this forum, of course, he's talking to the youngsters. Now, HDB issues, pricing, high HDB pricing is an issue that divides the young and the old. But I slowly start to see there's a convergence of views between the young and the old. Why I say that? Okay, for example, many Singaporeans in the past, or even now, some of them, still thinks that, high resale price okay, because I already own I already bought my HDB, right? Going to pay, finish my mortgage already. Wow, if the resale price is high, wow, I feel rich, but I cannot sell. I sell, I do not know where I'm going to stay. Right? So unless you want to upgrade, but at our age, 50, 55, where to upgrade to, right? Have to pay more, even more for private or another resale flat, right? The young ones have been suffering high BTO prices, right? So it's a divide. The young ones is definitely affected, adversely affected, unless they are very smart. Top 10% can afford private, right? Or $1 million HDB flats, and that's another matter, right? But those who actually can afford $1 million HDB are those downgraders from private. They sold their private properties, right? Landed properties or condo, then they downgrade, right? They earn a bit of money there, then they downgrade and can afford $1 million HDB flats. These are the people, or the foreigners who become PRs who can buy resale flat, right? Or new citizens, right? Because millionaire, billionaire JP is attracting, right? But in this forum, Lawrence Wong mentioned something. He said, compared to our forefathers, my parents, well, we are we are fogging we are forking out the current youngsters are actually forking out almost the same proportion or percentage of money, of income to finance their mortgage. What he said, no difference. I said that's bullshit. Why? One of my friends actually very upset and write a WhatsApp message to me, which I actually knows also. Right? Why? Even though, right, back in the 70s or 80s, my parents might have bought a four-room HDB flat at $20,000, $30,000, right? Which is damn bloody cheap, right? Now it's more than 10 times, 20 times. Okay? Although they also paid up about 25% or 25% of the income. We were without the CPF lah, to finance a mortgage. But they finance 5 years, 10 years, all paid out already. But current youngsters, they are going to have at least 20 years of mortgage, 25 years, or even some 30 years. How can you say it's the same? Same, but different. In terms of cash flow, by monthly cash flow, maybe same. In terms of the length, the duration of a mortgage is very different. That's why I call it bullshitting. Right? It's definitely bullshitting. Okay? This is something that we must recognize. I have said before, during our walkabout, youngsters are coming up to us, they say they cannot afford. Just out of a fresh grad, you want them to pay a deposit of $60,000, $50,000, $60,000 for a BTO? Where to get the money? Right? From Papa Mama lah. Their parents also got problem because they've used up their CPF to pay for their mortgage, and now retirement got problem. So they are stuck. Right? And of course, some parents are staying in landed properties or condos. They also tell me they worry for their children. Because to them, right, they can see no good future for their children. They themselves enjoy a good ride from the 80s or 70s, 80s, or even the 90s. But when they see what their children is facing, it's totally different scenario. People are not stupid. You can't gaslight people like that. What do you mean by same but different? And one of the guys, 29 years old guys, actually got it right. He says, I have to use my CPF to pay for a 99 years lease when it's going to depreciate, right? Over time, when it passed 50 years, then when I retire, how am I going to survive retirement? Because for 25 years mortgage or 30 years of mortgage, by the time he retire, very little will be left. And there's no job security. Because once you lose your job, when you're over 40 years old, it's very difficult for you to find another job, similar job with a similar pay. Most likely you end up as a Grab driver, right? And of course, we have Tan Sieling, who are in charge of manpower, Ministry of Manpower. So he says, wow, foreigners are very important. If without foreigners, our tax rate will be higher. Really? It's because you plan for so many foreigners, our water bond tax have to be increased. And that's exactly what you say. Your Ministry of NEA says water consumption, they have to tax you more so that they build more infrastructure. And the fact that we're spending so much money building $500 million per station, MRT station, all around the island, where some of the places are low density, sure lose money one, but you still build because you are anticipating more people to stay in Singapore. 10 million people by 2065. So if you do not have such aggressive population growth, you do not need to spend all this money. And thus, you do not need to tax us more. And one of the things that he says, for every foreigners that this EP or S pass, it benefits, it will provide 10, or 5 or 6 or 10 job opportunities for Singaporeans. Really? Are you sure? Then pray tell me, is it most Singaporeans are actually blind or actually got eyesight got problem when they go to work, right? Their office, they are the minority. It's not what 6-1 foreigners. That means 6 Singaporeans to 1 foreigners, but it's 10-1, 10 foreigners to 1 Singaporean. Are they crazy, or are they uh, seeing illusions? No. I'll tell you why this is so. 上有政策，下有对策。Right? How? Some companies, right, in order to have this quota, they open, especially the big companies, they open several subsidiary. Then what they do? They employ 1 Singaporean, but they are registered, pay for different companies, 2 or 3 companies, to make up the quota for all these subsidiary to employ S-Pass or E-Pass. Only medium size or bigger size MNCs can do that. That's how they game the system. And don't tell me MOM didn't know the trick. No, they definitely know the trick. That is why most Singaporeans who work in this environment will see them as a minority. 1 out of 10, 1 out of 8, instead of what he says, what every foreigner's employer will give Singaporeans a 10 of 6 or 5 or 6 job opportunities. That is not true. Right? If I go into Parliament, I'm going to ask very sharp question on this. If this is true, how do we end up as a population proportion? We are not talking about native Singaporeans. We're talking about wholesome Singaporean, right? Plus those who are not working, children studying, and those retirees. Why our population is such that out of 6 million, we have only 3.7 million Singaporeans. If the job opportunities so-called provided by foreign talent, foreign this type of employment pass or EP provide 6 or 5, 4 or 6 or even 10 job opportunities for Singapore citizens. No, it doesn't seem to be so. This is simple maths. You don't need a genius to figure it out. What went wrong? Right? Another gaslighting also. When people read what he says, while everyone start questioning themselves, are they seeing ghosts or not in their workplace? How come I'm the minority? When the minister of manpower had to say that supposed to have 5 or 6 Singaporeans opportunity created by one EP or SP, foreigners, foreign talent, are they seeing ghosts? Cannot be that, right? Because another minor issue, actually this is not a big issue, death penalty, but it's become an issue of concern for PAP government because it actually makes us a sore thumb right in the international arena. Because we are the minority countries in the world that still maintain death penalty, right? A lot of countries, European countries, even Malaysia, right, have started to do away with death penalty, right? But we are a sore thumb, right? And you know what? I disagree with Shanmugam here. I would take the middle path. What does it mean? What he's saying right now is either we have death penalty or we don't. But I say this is not binary. People are, I personally, right, I'm not against death penalty because 十大不赦，恶人 those who are very 凶 one, go around killing people, harming people, okay, deserve to die one. The state machinery, judiciary should be, in my religion, we talk about karma, should be the mechanism of karma. Right? However, I am against mandatory sentencing, sentences that were passed in Parliament. What does it mean? We pay so much money to employ judges. The judges are very highly paid. But in the end, we have our politician making laws that give more discretion to the AGC instead of judges. Why? Because when the public prosecutor determine which charges to put forward, it will mean that either you face a mandatory sentencing or you do not face it. Right? The judge, even they feel that, it's not most of the things in the world is not black and white, so clear. Sometimes it's gray. Right? The judge may think, okay, this guy have committed certain crime, but in certain circumstances, right? For example, his IQ is very low. He do not know what he's doing. Put it very simply. simply. So the judge may not want to give him the maximum punishment, which is death penalty. Let the judge decide. Right? But no, in Singapore law, it's mandatory. A lot of mandatory sentencing, not only death penalty. I am against mandatory sentencing because you do not give discretionary power to the judges. Right? And that is actually not healthy. We can maintain, we can keep the death penalty, but do away the mandatory nature of it. Let the judges go and decide, because different cases have different situation, mitigation situation reasons. Let the judge decide on the mitigation factors, whether he deserves to die. And in fact, we do not have this death penalty for people who do money laundering of drug money. Does it make sense to you? Those drug mules are the lowest, in the lowest form in the change of command, right? The drug change of supply. They are just pay pittance to carry the drugs across to distribute. But those who are actually making the big bucks are the gangsters, the syndicate head. After they collect this money, they launder it. But if you catch them for laundering money, sometimes don't even need to go to jail, just fine. What sense of justice is this? The law system, the legal system doesn't make sense to me, right? Because to us, we feel that, to be fair, okay, you are the drug mule, drug trafficking. Yes, you need to be punished, but who should be punished most? The head lah, correct lah. Those 老大 lah, right? The head of a syndicate. But because they do not personally go and deliver the drug, they just do coordination. Other people do the transportation and all that. They are not considered, but they are caught laundering their money in Singapore, but yet they're let off from their penalty. I will say, if I'm going to change a law, I'm going to make it fairer. For money laundering, in special cases that involve drug money, right, the judge will have the power, the discretional power, to decide whether death penalty should be discharged, to be given to such people, especially the head of all the drug syndicate. But you cannot prove that he's a drug syndicate, but you know the money is from the drug money, right? I will do that. Where is the sense of balance and justice? If your justice system, on one hand, is too harsh to drug mule, on the other hand, is too lenient to those people who launder money for crimes like drug trafficking. Right. Now, fortunately, instead of having a fruitful and mature discussion or debate or public narrative exchange, right, the government have issued a lot of POFMA, right, to the death penalty NGOs lah, right? The group of people who are anti-death penalty, so much so that they have to close down their website for fear of being criminalized if they kena POFMA again. That is unhealthy. I would say social norms, social mindset will change over time. Maybe in the old days, like my father, because of the situation that we have a lot of drug addict and a lot of families being affected by drugs, right? We need exceptionally strong mechanism punish drug trafficking. But in modern times, right, social mindset might have changed because some people may think that mandatory sentencing is just too harsh and unforgiving, or to put it very simple, right, indiscriminately applied, right? So there must be change according to times. But this group of people are mostly youngsters. I met two of them during Asian Center in JB. They're frustrated. No political party want to talk about that penalty with them. I say no, it's not true, right? As I said, my views are very consistent over the years. The views about death penalty, right, ever since year 2000, right, I'm very consistent. I'm against mandatory death penalty, or rather, most of the mandatory sentencing that was written into law. Because if that is so, then we do not need judges already. We just need a robot with AI, right? Because that's to determine whether you have made such mistake. Okay, this is mandatory. It's already spelled out, right? No need discretionary power. Then you use robot can already. You don't need to pay judges to do that, do the job. Right? I'm against mandatory death penalty. But I'm not against death penalty because, as I said, for cases of murder, right, or homicide, or even drug dealings, sometimes when you know a person that purposely go and do drug trafficking for the money, right, or repeated offense, the plan, the logistic, these people may deserve to die. If this is just a uneducated, bona one, or really low IQ one, most of them are they are employed. Most of these people are vulnerable people that was making manipulated and being used by this syndicate. Right? How do you blame them? Right? It is something for all of us to think about. And POFMA is not going to be helpful in such deliberation. Okay. Okay. I think today I will stop here. Actually, I still have some more about Trump, but it's getting late. And vaccine. Okay. So thank you for watching again. And please like, share, right, and follow my page, as well as donate whatever amount of money you can to our campaign, okay, in the upcoming election, or join us as a volunteers. Right? Some people actually ask me, how do I do my candidate selection? Right? I don't use so-called the commercial people go and do background check of my candidates. Why? Not like what Pritam has said, right? Workers' Party. Why? You're not going to find headhunters to do the job, right? Because this is a very special niche um, job. It's not a job, right? Profession. I call it profession. Well, a politician also a profession, right? What you want to check? Do a background check, whether he's a criminal or not, right? Whether he's a PSD agent, whether it's sent by PAP mole as a PAP mole, right? No, if it's sent as an ISD agent or PAP mole, are you sure your whoever you employ, like a private eye, right? Private investigator can actually access such database? Yeah, waste of time. Right? Or he's a womanizer, right? But sometimes people engage in extramarital affairs, may not have 前科 one, no? Last time may not, but because of affinity or attraction comes at first sight. These are personal, very personal things that can happen anytime. You cannot control, you cannot predict, right? I find that as a leader of a party, you must bear the responsibility of the final responsibility of putting good judgment of character of the people that you select. You cannot subcontract your responsibility to someone else. Definitely not. You cannot subcontract your responsibility to the headhunters or the HR what companies or the private investigators. No, because you're supposed to work with these people at first sight, right? Close working relationship. Right? You're supposed to know, right? By your gut feel, very important. Even when a person is perfect, he might be just a robot, might be just empty down here. How you know? Of course, you must make a judgment. Right? So subcontracting out responsibility of a selection of candidates, I do not prefer. Definitely. Right? Ultimately, just like PAP, whoever you want to fill, you can do all the screening you can. Ultimately, the responsibility lies with the person in the T party that decide whether you are acceptable as a candidate or not. Right? There is no saying in this world. Right? There's no saying. Right? Saint only exists in the past, in ancient times. Right? You cannot have a perfect human being to become candidate. Everyone will have his flaws. Everyone will have a strength. So a plus and minus, you have to decide as a party leaders, okay, what's the strength and what's are the flaws? Knowingly, informed choice again. Right? When you work with a certain person, you may be a mentor. If a good leader should be a mentor to say, look, you have this problem. I observe. Nothing personal. It's only for everyone's good. Right? I wish to groom whoever who are interested in politics. Don't take any criticism as something that is personal. No, because I want success for my people. Because if they are successful to be elected, right, then I'll become the leader of our opposition, right? I may become a prime minister also. So why should I actually attack my own people? No, I want to groom, to point out their strengths. Okay, you have these strengths, but you're not optimizing it. You have these negatives, right? Weaknesses. You have to overcome it. And most of the time, I will actually um, pointers of guidance. So what I'm looking for, people with agenda, which is aligned with the party stance. That's number one. They might have differences in other policy views, but it's okay. Right? But do not contradict the party stance in public. We can 吵架 within our own chat group, we can discuss and debate until the cow come home. But when it comes to the public, whether it's chat group or social media, we will always have only one stand. Right? And of course, I look for people with passion. Most people step into opposition politics with certain pet topics. Why pet topics? Because they are affected by certain policies, or they see something is wrong with certain policies. That's why they want to change it. They have this urge to say something about it, to do something about it, or even change it, or even discuss it, or even exert influence, whether it's in parliament or during election. I always tell my fellow comrades, look, I may not have won any elections, but because of my participation, I put up narratives. Policies and narrative are two different things. But narrative can change policies. Right? Even when I didn't win, for example, in 2011, I shifted the narrative of the PAP and the policy direction of the asset enhancement scheme for HDB. Totally eradicate it because it doesn't make sense. Even if I don't win, but I'll contribute to the nation in such a way, to the people, to the voters, and to the youngsters. But again, right now, PAP, after some time doing right, they suddenly go astray again because of population. They can claim how many more HDB flats they build, as long as they do not control the population or the new citizenship they give up, or the PRs they give up, HDB will always in great demand. Right? And as long as they have so many millionaires and billionaires of foreign land come up and grab up all the properties, private properties, you push out the middle class and to buy the resale, right? Or to go into a BTO, increase the demand, and of course the price will go up in a trickle-down effect. So here again, I have to perform my duties. Why me? If not me, then who? Because I would say I'm the one with the most technical knowledge of how the housing market works, how the HDB works, and how each SME works, and what is the fundamental problems of the HDB and the CPF link. If I do not contest, I do not groom people, right, to contest, I cannot get this narrative up there. And similarly, for anyone who participates, who want to join my party, you must have some views. You must have something that you want to change, and something you want to put up on the table, on the platform, as a narrative, so that you can effect change. Whether you win or not is another matter. Of course, if you go into parliament, it's more effective. Even if you don't go into parliament, win anything, go into parliament, at least your narrative is up there. And slowly other people, whether it's opposition or PAP people, will start to echo your views, and change will come sooner or later. Right? I was one of the very few who talk about CPF, the problem of CPF linked to HDB. Very few of those people who talk about 99-year lease. Right? Very few people who have first point out the asset enhancement is actually a scam, because it cannot work that way in the long term. It's only the first narrative come out, other people start to think and repeat, and it becomes the public narrative, and everyone understand it. So who am I looking for? People with that passion and is willing to face the risk POFMA or persecution or smearing, right? Some will have this imagining thing about losing their jobs, right? At all costs. You want it to be done. I dislike LKY for a lot of things, but I agree with him. You must have the iron in you if you want to get into politics, especially opposition politics. Right? PAP one, they are like lollipops. Right? But in opposition politics, you must have iron in you. No matter what uphill task, whatever thrown at you, the smearing, the POFMA and all that, you just move on ahead, forward. If you do not have that in you, right, it's very difficult to be successful as an opposition politician. Success is also doesn't only include getting into parliament, but to change narrative and to change policies. These are the people I want. Okay. Okay. Not so much about this. So see you next time. I think Friday I will not have live chat because election coming, so a lot of meetings. So you will see less and less live chat from my channel because I'm going to be very, very busy, right? But hope to see you again on Sunday. Right? Please check out our YouTube, People's Power Party Singapore, right? The YouTube or our website for updates. Thank you and good night.